The slot in the cam. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. What I got here is a 5/16 spiral cut, down cut. It's a downward cut. Now all I did was, I've just got a piece of MDF. I've got it clamped to my router table so it doesn't move. And I've got my bit coming up through it. Now to set this, all you got to do, here's your drill your pattern of the cam. All you need to do is drill you a 5/16 or even a little bit larger hole right at the edge, right at the outer edge. And then just drill your pattern to fit. So it's probably going to go on, it's going to go on the bit somewhat like this. Just now, all this is the same thing we used on the bottom. It's just a carriage bolt with the bottom recessed. And the reason we want this on here is so that we've got its safety. Very simple. So that we can start this router bit, and this thing has got a resistance. We want a resistance here. We don't want this thing being able to flop around real easy. Because if you do, those things can jump around or whatever. The cam allows our hand to be clear of the bit. So all we need to do is, once we're in here, make sure your bit is not in contact with your wood. Make sure your start hole is drilled large enough that the bit is setting in there free. Turn your router on. Simply move your bit. Move your cam, make your cut. Okay, pay attention to the rotation of your bit. I think I just did that backwards because I'm standing behind it. Pay attention to the rotation of your bit. Make your cut, turn your router off, make sure everything has stopped, and remove your cam and do the next one. Now also you want to pay attention to the orientation of your cam. Might want to drill that hole just a little bit larger. All right, anyway, I got another one. Because on the jig, the way I have it set up, mine, is that I have this part of it, the radius on it, going down. If you prefer, you can actually countersink it, drill it differently, and go the other way. Choice is yours. Okay, let's come back and we'll look at the platform. All right, platform. Now I'm just going to do one paper's worth because it's just a repeat pattern. But what you want to make sure of is that when you put confirm it, because make sure when you put your cam in that your hole is lined up correctly so that the cam will move over correctly like you want. Then you also just use the inside holes here, which these are the ones that are used for the carriage bolt for the hold down. Okay, because the hold down and the cam secure use the same hole. That's simple. Okay, the stop, that's pretty self-explanatory. We've got 3 adjustment points. You can do what you want. All it is a piece of plywood. I think I stuck a couple little dowels in there, or you can permanently attach it. It's whatever you want to do. All right, these holes, these slots right here, what they're about is when we, in this particular case, the slide that was on this that I had to tear off to show you was simply made out of a piece of really nice straight grained maple. But what I did, if you're using a piece of wood, you can set this in your miter slide. Then you can take and set your jig where you want it. Drill you a little teeny hole here and a little one down there and one in the middle in a line. Set this to your saw. Take a little finishing nail and just tap it in place enough to hold it so that you can take it off and secure your slide, which usually we just did by taking some small screws and screwing it on. A nice alternative is to use a nice metal slide. If you're going to do that, now you see this has got a hole and it's countersunk. They also have the little nylon inserts that you can put in here to help adjust and keep it nice and tight in your miter slide. What we did when we did ours is just like they packaged it. They got a hole drilled. I just drilled another one, and what I did was took a small bolt, ran up through it, put a wing nut on it, so that what I could do was to set this where I wanted with that wing nut, and I could adjust my jig to my slide and get everything accurate. You want to make sure that if it's, you know, if it's touching here and touching here when you run it. Pretty much that simple. That's the taper jig. Not difficult, not hard to make, but extremely effective. If you have a need for one, here's mine. Works great. Some of the turners out there where they're doing segmented turning and things have used it to secure some of their segments to make their little cuts. If you've got a, you know, twisted piece of wood, there's a lot of different things you can do with it. It's not just for tapers. But it sure does do a nice job, and the main thing with it is that it's going to keep you safe. Again, a couple quick points. Make sure that your hold down doesn't extend beyond your edge, no matter where you rotate it. That's the biggest safety factor. Make sure that when you do it, and one of the things I do, I'll go on a belt sander, and I actually take and abrade the bottom of my hold down just to give it a grip. I'll tell you what else I've done. I've taken a little contact cement. This was one of the early prototypes. I actually took a little contact cement and glued a piece of sandpaper on it. Pieces 80 or 60, something like that, give me a good grip. But they really hold nice. Give it a try. I think you'll like it. Just be safe. I'm Charles Neal. Catch you later.